We have previously looked at the 7 best players from countries outside the top 100 in FIFA's world rankings. But instead of being ranked by their footballing abilities, today we wanted to take a look at some of the best players from footballing minnows in terms of their population. Thank you to Caljo on Twitter, whose suggestion was the inspiration for this video, although we had to quantify what classed as being a small country. In the end, we went for under 1 million people, which means even footballers from nations like Cyprus, Mauritius, or East Timor would be disqualified by virtue of being from too large a nation. Here are our 7 best footballers from countries with fewer than 1 million people. Nikola Vukcevic, Montenegro. Kicking us off in 7th place, and beating some real talent to make this 7, there will be some honourable mentions at the end of this video, is Montenegro regular Nikola Vukcevic. The 3rd youngest nation on earth, Montenegro gained independence from the state union of Serbia and Montenegro in 2006. With a population of just over 620,000, the territory formerly controlled by the Ottoman Empire has fewer inhabitants than Denver, Colorado, or the city of Leeds in Yorkshire. They do have some decent footballers though, and Nikola Vukcevic certainly falls into that category. Capped 28 times by the 41st ranked nation in FIFA's world rankings, the 26-year-old is a really well-rounded, central or defensive midfielder. After 5 years in Portugal with Braga, the Titigrad native joined La Liga side Levante in an £8 million deal over the summer. Johann Gudmundsson, Iceland. Perhaps the least surprising thing about this 7 is that it features Icelandic players. Johann Gudmundsson is the first, but he won't be the last, hailing from a country which has performed miracles over the last few years. A nation with roughly the same number of people as Coventry, Iceland qualified for their first European Championships in 2016, where they beat England and reached the quarter-finals. They followed that up by becoming the smallest nation to ever reach a World Cup finals, and they certainly didn't show themselves up in Russia. There will be a few Icelandic players in the honourable mentions, but the first to make the 7 proper is Johann Gudmundsson. The 27-year-old former Charlton Athletic wide man made his international debut at the age of 17, and he has since racked up 69 caps for the Nordic Islanders. A tireless, hard-working, and technically proficient wide man who can play on either flank, Gudmundsson has come on leaps and bounds under Sean Dyche at Premier League Burnley. His wicked deliveries resulted in 8 assists last season, the most of any Burnley player, and the same number as Arsenal's assist king, Mesut Ozil. Zé Luiz, Cape Verde. Another player from an island nation, although one with a rather different climate to Iceland, in 5th place is Zé Luiz. Quite possibly less familiar with a number of viewers, Zé Luiz is also the 2nd former Braga player to feature here. The 27-year-old forward may be less well known simply because he has spent the last 3 years of his career with Spartak Moscow in Russia. A hard-working, creative, and technical second striker, Zé Luiz isn't the most prolific, but he makes things happen in attacking areas. Cape Verde comfortably makes the Spartak forward eligible for this 7 with a population of roughly 500,000. A former Portuguese colony, Cape Verde has a dark past which is irrevocably tied to the Atlantic slave trade. Located around 350 miles off the coast of mainland Africa, the island only gained independence from Portugal in 1975, but they recorded a famous 2-0 win over their former rulers in a 2015 friendly match. ALFRED FINNBOGASON, Iceland. We told you there would be a notable Icelandic presence in this 7, and ALFRED FINNBOGASON makes it 2 from 4 for the land of fire and ice. That should come as little surprise, as Iceland's 32nd place ranking is by far the highest of any nation with fewer than 1 million inhabitants. Our 4th place player is ALFRED FINNBOGASON, who scored Iceland's only goal from open play at the 2018 World Cup. A really intelligent frontman with an eye for goal, FINNBOGASON became well known after bagging 53 goals in 65 games in the Eredivisie for Heerenveen. Now starring for Augsburg in Germany, FINNBOGASON netted 12 times in 20 outings last season, and he has to make this 7. Stefan Savic, Montenegro. In all honesty, you could ask 100 people to order the top 3 in this 7 from 1st to 3rd, and you'd probably get a clean split across the board. There's not much in it then, but we've gone for Stefan Savic in 3rd place. Once a promising young centre-back at Manchester City, Savic is now an experienced 27-year-old who features regularly in one of Europe's most impenetrable defences. Savic still wouldn't fit in particularly well at City, given the presence of Pep Guardiola, the Montenegrin being a bit of a throwback of a centre-back. Strong, alert and solid, Savic does the basics well, but he isn't what you would call a ball-playing centre-half. The former Fiorentina man has won 48 caps for Montenegro to date. Gylfi Sigurdsson, Iceland. In terms of natural ability, Gylfi Sigurdsson would top this 7, but since this is a purely current video, I just dropped the Everton man down a place at the final second. That isn't because Sigurdsson is playing poorly, far from it, but simply because the man in top spot has been excellent recently. Sigurdsson is obviously a very talented attacking midfielder who is the star man in this overachieving Icelandic national team. A really creative and industrious midfield player who is excellent from dead ball situations, Sigurdsson cost Everton an initial £40 million in 2017 after 3 impressive seasons at Swansea City. After a fairly mediocre debut season at Goodison Park, Sigurdsson could flourish under Marco Silva with pace either side of him this season. Stevan Jovetic, Montenegro. Well, Iceland and Montenegro really did rule the roost in this 7, and I promise you will get a bit more variation in the honourable mentions, but we have to call it as we see it. Top spot goes to Stevan Jovetic, another Montenegro international, formerly of Manchester City. As we said, it was a close run thing, but regular viewers of France's Ligue 1 will understand why we have given top spot to Jovetic. The 28-year-old joined Monaco from Inter Milan last summer, effectively arriving as a replacement for Kylian Mbappe. Those are big boots to fill, but Jovetic scored 10 goals in 21 games. Highly regarded from a young age, injury problems have routinely hampered his development, but there's no doubting his technical ability. A natural second striker who can score and create goals at will, Jovetic has scored an exceptional 24 goals from 50 caps for his country, and we're just about convinced that he deserves to top this 7 right now. There are a whole load of really decent footballers who missed out on this 7, and we're going to start doing more sizable honourable mentions in some of our videos from now on, I think. We start with the usual suspects, and by that I mean some more Icelandics and Montenegrins. From Iceland, FC Rostov forward Bjorn Bergman Sigurdsson, Serie A regular Emil Hallfredsson, and Aston Villa favourite Berka Bjarnason all came close. As for Montenegro, Lazio regular Adam Marasic can consider himself unlucky not to have featured. Outside of those two, Curaçao duo Eloy Room, who plays as a goalkeeper for PSV, and Cuco Martina, who's currently on loan at Stoke City from Everton, both made our shortlist. Another Cape Verdean in the form of rapid Galatasaray winger Gary Rodriguez also made that shortlist, as did the thrice-capped Guadeloupe international Claudio Bervu and Queen's Park Rangers' Naki Wells. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out some of our other videos, such as those on screen now and most likely a fair few below this video if you're watching on mobile, or to the right of your screen if you're watching on PC. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more from us, and you can also follow us on Twitter at HITC Sevens.